Welcome to part 2 of the scrolling form. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go in and update each one of our labels and our placeholder text for our text fields so they look like our form on page 587. So let me just go back into my main storyboard. So I will go ahead, make sure I have my label selected. Within my label, I'll go into my attribute inspector, and then I'll go ahead and update my label name to first name. And then what I'll do is I'll select my text field. And then what I want to do is I want to update the placeholder text. So basically what that does is it shows some text so the user knows exactly what they should be typing in here, but it is in a lighter shade of gray. So let me just go ahead and add in first name. And then I'll go down to my second label. I'll click in below my text, go ahead, add in last name. Click on my second text field and add in my placeholder text. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video right now and add in the rest of the fields. So let me just pause it. I'll add those in and then we'll try running the application. Okay, I've gone in, I've added the names for each one of the labels and then placeholders for the text. So if you look over at the left, I have my first name, last name, address line 1, address line 2, city, state, zip code, and phone number. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and run my app. So I'm just going to go ahead and move it to an iPhone 8, and we will go ahead and click and see what happens when we run the application. Okay, the application is currently coming up. It should be up here in a second. As it slowly but surely will eventually start running. Okay, scrolling form, and finally, is it going to come up here? Taking a very long time. Okay, so it's finally come up. So I'll go ahead, click in my first field, go ahead and add some text in there. So now if I drag up or down, it will actually scroll for me. And if I hit Command K again, that should remove my, my keyboard. So we'll scroll on down, scroll on up. So it looks like my scrolling capability is now working. So I'm going to go ahead and click in my zip code field. I want to add a zip code. I'll hit Command K and that should bring up the keyboard again. And now you can see that the keyboard's covered up where I actually want to type that information into. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and add some code that when that occurs, the text field that I have my cursor in, the view will scroll up so I'm able to type something into that area. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop my application. The code that you need is available in Canvas. So let me just go ahead here. I need to go ahead and log in again. And I will go ahead and log in. You do want to use the code that appears in Canvas. You do not want to use the code that appears in the actual book. There's been some updates to that code. So let me just go ahead, click on Student View, go into Modules, and I'll scroll on down. And what you'll see is you'll see the keyboard code under Scroll Views. So I can just go ahead and click on that information. What it'll do is it'll bring up some code for you, or you can just go ahead and download the doc. I currently have the doc downloaded, so what I'm going to do is, instead of waiting for this to actually come up, I'll go ahead, double click on my keyboard code. It'll come up, and then I'll just do a Command C and then go into my text. I want to go into my view controller, so I'll click there, and I want to add this code actually below my viewDidLoad method. And then in order for this code to operate correctly, what I need to do is I need to go back into my main storyboard, and I need to create an outlet from my scroll view into my code. So let me just go ahead and make sure I am actually in my view controller Swift file here. I am in there. So what I want to do is I want to go in and click on my scroll view and hit the Control key. And what I want to do is I want to drop in an outlet, and what we're going to call it, or what they called it in the code, is just scroll view. And I will go ahead and click on to add that scroll view. So let me just go ahead and close this code, go back into my view controller code, and now you can see the errors have been eliminated. The last thing I need to do in order to run this code is I need to go ahead and call this method when my view did load. So I will just go ahead and type in register for keyboard notifications. Okay, so what this is doing is it's calling a method, and in this method what we're doing is we've just added an observer to find out when the keyboard has been shown and when the keyboard has been hidden. So when that observer shows that the keyboard did show, we got that notification. What we're going to do is we're going to adjust our scroll view so it should scroll up to not cover the text field that we want to enter information in. And then keyboard will be hidden. Then that will get called when our keyboard is hidden in our app. So I'll just go ahead, click on the start, and run my application right now. Okay, I will go ahead, click into my state view, and as you can see, when I clicked in my state view, the keyboard, it did scroll up, and the keyboard now does not cover that state field. So basically what that does is when you click into a text field, it'll go ahead, and when the keyboard comes up, it will not cover that field. It'll allow you to go in and enter the information in that field. So that is what that keyboard notification code does. So I recommend that you save that, and it will probably come in valuable when you do not want your keyboard to cover up when the user's actually entering information into a text field. So again, what you'll want to do is you'll want to use the code that was found, the keyboard.rtf file that is in Canvas. It has been updated a little bit as some of the methods are no longer available. So that is it with part number 2. So basically this is what you need to turn in for your assignment 4.4. So we will talk to you when we get into talking about tables.